Hello everyone. In this video we're going to be taking a look at an article from CNN Business published on October 12th, written by Nathaniel Mayerson and Chris Isildur. And we're also taking a look at the end of an era. Sears bankruptcy appears imminent. I mean, Sears been around for a long time, managed to adapt, created a successful mail catalog business where you could buy pretty much anything: shoes, clothing, car. They sold a car or multiple cars, like a motorized buggy. They sold other cars in there too. Houses, even. California, there's a big thing for the Sears bungalow. They don't sell cheap. I mean, these were houses that people ordered. They shipped you all of the wood, everything. They gave you the blueprints, and they said, have at it. They managed to segue to storefront businesses, brick and mortar. And they managed to dominate that industry for a very long time. But they didn't adapt to stay relevant with that industry changing due to the internet, and they didn't adapt to the internet, and yeah, this is where you end up with this being the case. Because I remember in the 80s, Sears was the big thing. I mean, you could go to the mall on a Saturday, and the Sears was packed. And I mean, I was born in the mid-70s, so I mean, I was there with the video game boom. And, Sears was smart. They got Atari VCS/2600s, rebadged them, made a deal with Atari, sold them a little bit cheaper. And television from Mattel, same thing. And they did this with these gaming systems, and they sold the games, and they had them rebranded for their own thing. And you could buy the systems and the games a little bit cheaper. And this drew people in on that note with their electronics. I mean, you could get the Sears brands or the other brands. I mean, because they were selling other brands too, but they had Sears branding, and you could go and get a Sears television, and people did that. But in the 90s, they didn't follow suit with trends, and I mean, the clothing got stale and things like that, and that didn't help them. I mean, they had like their tool brands and shit, Craftsman, whether it was their tractors or their tools. They had that helping them out with that time period. People would go to Sears to get their cars worked on and tires and that. And then they started having that not be associated with them because of how they dealt with things. And then they end up buying a competitive brand with NTB. And yeah, let's keep it NTB. They should have changed those to like Sears Service Center or whatever, to help keep the brand going. They didn't think about things like this, and now we're seeing an end to an era and possibly the end of a company. Hopefully they'll get to restructure and they'll come out and be a positive cash flow company. But I mean, seeing this happening, I just wanted to cover the story because, I mean, to see Sears, a company that's been around for the amount of time that it has, filing for bankruptcy like it is, I mean, this is something that needs attention brought to it. Sears has 3 days to come up with $134 million. Sears Holdings, the parent company of Sears and Kmart, faces a Monday deadline to pay that much in debt. The most recent filing from Sears showed it had only $193 million in cash on hand as of August 4th, the end of its last fiscal quarter. The company also has $269 million available to it from lenders, according to figures it released on September 13th. In theory, they could pay it off. Money would be tight. So right now, they could pay this off, not file for bankruptcy, and pray to God. But it looks like they're going to file for bankruptcy, reorganize, and hopefully have a chance at surviving. Because the Sears name, we've already lost way too many brands that have been around for a long time that were icons, like Radio Shack, for example. So it would be nice to see Sears managed to pull their asses out of the fire here. Having so little cash available would make it very difficult for Sears to pay back $134 million in debt due on Monday. Plus, Sears also has to pay its current vendors and employees and stock up inventory before the holidays. Yeah, that's another thing. I mean, they could pay the 100 and whatever it is, 163 is it? 134. They could pay the 134 and then try to do just-in-time purchasing, but with the demand of the holidays, they would probably run out of certain stock, but it would be something they could try. All signs point to a bankruptcy filing in the next few days. Sears stock has fallen more than 50% in the last 5 days to around 35 cents a share. Wow. 35 cents a share. I'm sure back in the day when they first offered up stock, 35 cents a share was probably a pretty penny. Now it ain't worth shit. 3 companies that sell items at Sears told Reuters this week that Sears had missed payments to them over the past few weeks. Ooh, that's never a good sign. Oh, wow. I wonder which ones. That's got me curious now. One of Sears' major shareholders recently dumped a chunk of his stock for pennies on his original investment. The company added a new director this week who's familiar with bankruptcies and restructuring. Hopefully he can restructure the company and they survive. I mean, I would like to see the brand survive. I mean, I would have loved to have seen it stay Sears and Roebuck or Sears Roebuck and Company. Because I remember it was Sears Roebuck and Company, then it was Sears and Roebucks, then it was Sears. So yeah, when you change names like that multiple fucking times, it doesn't help your branding. And you did it when your brand was strong and you were lucky. And reports are swirling that the company is talking to advisors and banks in preparation for a bankruptcy filing. According to the Wall Street Journal, Sears has hired M3 Partners, a boutique advisory firm specializing in seeing companies through bankruptcies and restructuring. The company is also... Wow, there's a comma there. No one proofread that. That should be a period. I almost read it like there was a comma there, even with the capital T on the th. Wow. The company is also talking to lenders about providing it with debtor-in-possession financing, CNBC reported. That kind of loan is used by companies that file for bankruptcy to fund operations during the process. Usually funding is secured well before the final days. So, I mean, they're trying. And they've got a guy that's running the company that's got experience with the bankruptcies and the restructuring. They've got an advisory firm that deals with this. They've been talking to lenders about getting that debtor in possession financing. I mean, they're trying, and I got to give them credit for that. Hopefully, maybe now that they have someone that has a fucking clue, the company will actually turn itself around. Because, I mean, I look at how it was in the 90s when it was losing touch. It was, yeah, I mean, like, you could walk in there in the 90s and fashion would be, you know, it was out of date. Like, they were chasing trends and behind them, which can't help your bottom line. Like when you're dealing with soft lines, when you're buying clothes that are already falling out of style. Also, they didn't necessarily have a lot of brands that people wouldn't, you know, because it was like Sears branded stuff and things like that. I mean, so you've got that to look at as a consideration as well. Companies that file for bankruptcy typically negotiate a special kind of loan to stay in business while they go through the bankruptcy process. There are several reports that Sears is in talks for that kind of financing, but negotiations don't appear to be going well, which kind of sucks. Hopefully things change on that note, because like I said, I would like to see Sears continue on. Maybe they can adapt and rise like a phoenix out of the ashes and become a cash-positive company. The company's lenders are encouraging Sears to shut down and liquidate, the Wall Street Journal reported Thursday. Sears management has reportedly said it hopes to use Chapter 11 of the bankruptcy law to stay in business rather than Chapter 7, which leads to closing. Yes. See, the lenders are just looking at the short-term gains. They don't want to deal with the fact of this company being restructured and everything else. They've seen this company run itself into the ground, and they're thinking the damage is done, but it isn't. Sears can have a brand that stays. If they didn't sell off shit stupidly, they'd be better off right now. Like selling off Craftsman, for example. That was so fucking stupid. Selling off Die Hard. Same fucking thing. These were brands that they were known for. You know? Die Hard batteries. Craftsman tools. You go in, buy a Craftsman tool, go in any Sears, get it replaced. On the note of like the hand tools. Without any issues. Just walk in. Be like, here, you could take your friggin' breaker bar, put it in a vise, bend the fucking shit out of it, walk in and go, yeah, I need a new one. Oh yeah, just go grab one off the shelf. And that was that. So you get rid of that brand that people know to go to your store to exchange, that's got a lifetime guarantee. You sell it to Stanley, which Stanley was known as bargain rate fucking tools. Now they own your ass. Or your brand now. Not your ass, but you know what I mean. If Sears does file for Chapter 11, the company could try to stay in business using the court process to shed debt and unaffordable leases. It could attempt to emerge as a profitable company, but the retail landscape is littered with brands that tried to reorganize in the bankruptcy process and liquidated their businesses instead, such as Radio Shack, Toys R Us, and Sports Authority. Well, here's the thing. Sports Authority, they kind of fucked up on their own right with their sports shit, because, I mean, there are companies that are doing well in that industry, like Dick's, for example. Radio Shack, they got rid of, well, they moved away from what a lot of their core stuff was. I mean, I remember growing up as a kid, going in and buying things I needed for electronics projects I was doing. Like, you know, taking a pair of the Blues Brothers style glasses and putting, you know, red dye LEDs behind the lenses to give the red glow for like a Terminator costume. You know, being able to buy breadboards and shit like that. Going into where they were like a cell phone boutique. That's what fucked them. You don't go and move away from consumer electronics and, you know, on like televisions and stereos and, you know, things like that. You don't move away from stuff like that. You know, computers as well. And just focus on cell phones and bet the bank on that. That's what fucked them. Toys R Us? Oh, some of that was the customers. Some of that was their own fucking shit. When you had customers going into Toys R Us, taking the kids in there like, you know, it's taking them to the fucking playground, scoping out the toys they want, and then going to fucking Amazon, that's one reason why they're going out of business. If they had, I mean, they had a decent segment of the toy market online, but if they had incorporated more of that into their store, so pick up in store, for example, if they had been doing that from day one, order your, you know, because Best Buy had been doing that from the early days of their site. If Toys R Us had done that, people would have been taking their kids in there for more than like the idea of it being a playground or to scope out toys that you're going to go online and buy. Because they'd be going in to get their toys, they'd be getting their money from those customers, and maybe while there might be an impulse purchase or two. So they didn't think about stuff like that. And you're trying to make it sound like they tried to reorganize and ended up liquidating the businesses because of like other shit. It was just poor management on where they ended up where they were. They wouldn't have needed to worry about liquidation with that. And with the liquidation factor, they were under pressure from probably their lenders. And not only that, but it looks like Toys R Us and Babies R Us are probably coming back, because at the last second they a venture capital company or something got involved with them. So they might be making a comeback. You never know. Sears and Kmart merged to form Sears Holding in 2005 when they had 3,500 U.S. stores between them. A long series of store closings has left it with under 900 today. Yeah, part of that is they were dealing with competing with the internet and didn't necessarily adapt themselves to it. In July, Sears closed its last store in Chicago, once its hometown. The company recently announced another 46 store closings that will take place just before the start of the holiday shopping period. Yeah. Sears and Kmart had 89,000 employees as of February 3 of this year, according to a company filing. Yeah, that's some fucked up shit. That's a lot of employees that are going to be gone. Hopefully, as I said, they can adapt, and not die. Besides wanting the nostalgia factor of the brand to see it succeed. I mean, they employ a bunch of people, and they could still find in the consumer market their own little niche and do pretty well in it. I mean, I honestly didn't think Kmart was a smart purchase for them back in the day. I didn't understand that one, because Kmart is like the ghetto of retail. I mean, when you look at their stores, it's kind of how it is. But anyway, I've covered this well enough. I'm just going to leave things here. If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.